presentation back up and go to slide 11, please. Yeah, I have just a few more questions associated with individual slides. That would be possible. There we go. Slide 11. Yes. Okay. Demands on city services continue to be high. Homelessness, opioid response, public realm. Well, so public realm cleanliness and public space activation is clearly local government responsibility. Homelessness and opioid response. My question is, has city investment in these areas generated more senior government interest?
Maybe I will start, but certainly when we look at homelessness, I think the funding that we have received funding from senior government this year through the pandemic, the Reaching Home programs. So definitely that has been more visible, and the work that the city's done has highlighted that.
When we get down to a further slide, I'm going to come back to this point. So if we go to the next slide, slide 12, please. I was reviewing this against an earlier presentation, and one of the things that was under assumptions previously was that vacancies held in 2021 are added back. That does not appear in this slide. So will vacancies held in 2021 be added back in these assumptions?
Yeah, in our assumptions, we start with the vacancies added back, and then, yes. Okay. And again, to my earlier comment, which is ideally we're not just holding vacancies randomly, but really looking at what the service impact is and adjusting the service levels to align to the resources.
Okay, the reason I brought it up was, as I say, it was in an earlier version of this presentation received by council, and so I want to emphasize then that although it does not appear on this slide, that an assumption is that vacancies held will be added back, and that's something I think we should discuss. Now, slide 23, please. Slide 23 talks about expenditure growth and expanding services and demand expectations beyond the base. Again, this comes back to what I was getting about our base versus what others might call mission creep. So how's the involvement and delivery of services that have traditionally been the roles of senior government? I point back to homelessness and opioid response from slide 11. So in this case, are we on slide 23, please?
Yeah, we'll just move on to slide 23. Yeah, great.
Right. So here we're looking at the expenditure growth. So we're growing beyond the areas of local government responsibility and areas that are articulated here as traditionally the role of senior government. So going back to homelessness and opioid response expenses of city, so how are we mitigating the fact that we are taking on at a local government level with a limited tax base areas that are the responsibilities of senior level of government? Are we going to continue doing that? Is that something that we will be looking at in particular as we reframe this budget?
Yeah, and that would be part of council's decision if we choose to continue in those areas, which over the last several years, or to reduce those. I do want to note that probably our largest expenditure growth is in the line above, which is public safety wages, metro utility charges, construction and raw material costs. That is pretty significant as well. But we will look at all of these areas and bring those options back to council. So,
yeah, what I'm trying to do here is underscore what has been happening over a period of time now, where involvement in delivery of services that are outside the scope of local government, it has been a draw on our finances. And I just want to emphasize that and ensure that as we go through this process as a council with staff, that this is looked at in greater detail.
Yes, absolutely. We do summarize that in the budget. We'll make sure that that's clear as far as the decision points for council as well on the detail.
Yeah, I think we'll agree that this is not the time to be expanding. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I'm prepared to. I can't. You may be on mute. Sorry.